Welcome to Try This at Home. I'm Cliff Bumgardner.
I'm still Harrison Stewart.
Our myths this week are bulletproof water and 360-degree swing set.
Yeah.
This episode originally aired July 13th, 2005. And you heard me right, July. We've had a huge jump in time. Our last episode was, I think, late January, and it's now July. So
a little mid-season break,
I guess so. I'm not even going to get into the seasons or else I'm going to fall out of my chair with rage.
Yeah, a little season 3, part 1 and 2.
This episode was produced by Alice Dallow and written by Dan Tapster. Two names who all of a sudden are just all over the place. They are just firing on all cylinders this season. And it's clear, because I'm just going to say it, this episode's a classic.
It was very, very good. This one holds a new distinction, Cliff.
What's
a new
that?
distinction. To me, this was the most surprising confirmed we've had yet.
Really?
Absolutely. I mean, can you guess?
I'm guessing you're talking about the bulletproof water.
It's the bulletproof water. It's the bulletproof water, 100%.
I would probably feel the same way if this episode was not so firmly locked in my memory from childhood. This is one of those, it's on the Mount Rushmore. If I'm trying to think about episodes of MythBusters, this is one that comes up. But I did say last week, I remembered bulletproof water. I did not remember that 360 swing set is also in this episode. I remembered 360 swing set. It's a classic. I remembered every single beat of it, but I did not remember that the two were together. So that was super cool and made for just an awesome classic episode to me.
I really think I like the two myth structure.
Yeah.
That really works for me.
I'm with you. It's been really good as of late, especially, I mean, and we'll get into it, but man, Grant is just he's fully arrived already. He introduces the myth in this episode. He introduces the swings. He's like the little narrative through line in the blueprint room. And like, he's fully part of the show. And yeah, it's like, I never would have guessed that this classic episode would be the second one with Grant.
The second appearance of Grant Imahara.
It's crazy.
Pretty impressive. I mean, that means he has a perfect record so far.
Yeah. He is 2 for 2. He is untouched so far in the show. Myth 1, bulletproof water. Will water protect you from bullets? You know we love the movie myths.
So you remembered this.
Yes.
You remembered the answer to this.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen this episode.
Okay.
So still haven't. I didn't do my homework. I'm so sorry. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I this was one of those that I was like, this is a stupid question. Like, of course it doesn't. It's water. And you're talking about bullets. There's no way that this one works. No way.
Well, it is
Am I wrong? Is that a stupid?
No, I don't think
I'm
so.
not a science guy.
This is another one of those. Is one of our favorite things on the show. It's a movie myth. This is the kind of thing you see in movies and TV for years and years and years. Somebody is getting shot at. They dive into the water. The bullets go past them or never reach them, and they get away unscathed. So we have seen this over and over. So no, it's not crazy to think that there's just no way that would possibly be true. And even if you did think there was potentially some sort of science to it, it's the degree to which it gets confirmed that is really shocking in this one. Like, there is kind of a feeling the way the episode progresses that like, well, okay, they're going to hit a threshold, and they never hit a threshold. Not really. It just keeps going across the board.
I do feel like it's important to point out that I'm not sure it works the way it works in movies. Mm-hmm. Because like I'm thinking of like there's in one of the Mission Impossibles, I think it's Rogue Nation. They get away, and it's become a pretty infamous scene because they're like not that far underwater.
Yeah.
And you can physically see they like, I'm assuming they're using like CGI to show like the bullets slowing down. And that's part of it here, but
Yeah.
that's not really how this ends up working. Water does protect you, apparently,
Well,
but not in the ways you think.
Harrison, it's Tom Cruise. There's no CGI bullets.
Oh my god,
Those
you're
are
so right.
Those are real bullets.
Tom Cruise. No, it's Tom Cruise. He's actually in a bullet costume and being fired out of a giant gun that they created just for him.
Just for him.
Just for him. He does his own stunts. I don't know if you know this. Tom Cruise does his own stunts, including but not limited to being a bullet fired out of a gun.
He should really talk about that more. I haven't heard too much about that.
A lot of people don't know it. A lot of people, it hasn't become the primary selling point of his career past the age of 45. A lot of people don't know this, but yeah, does his own bullet stunts.
Don't you
Crazy.
like? Sometimes I look.
He can't swim. He can't swim. That's he doesn't want you to know that. The second you become a Scientologist, you lose the ability to swim, even if you knew it prior.
Well, that's kind of where I was.
Your thetans weigh you down. Actually,
That's sort of where I was going, because it's like every time I see Tom Cruise, there's that little piece of me that's like, if there's ever a good salesman for Scientology,
it is Tom Cruise. I'm fully of the opinion that he wants to die on camera, and that's why he's doing all this. Like, there's just something in his brain that he's like, it's actually the perfect death, and I need to do that. Honestly, the boys kind of appear to want to die on camera this week.
Yeah, yeah.
The first
Tom would
rig
fit
that
in
they
on
set up-
MythBusters. He'd fit right in on this show. Talk about
the
real
first rig
bullets.
that they set up. I still can't.
So
again,
this is the ultimate version, of what we have been making fun of them for since the beginning of the show, which is doing ridiculously dangerous things indoors in the shop. And this is not just blowing something up or shooting a gun. It's shooting a gun into / at a like 15-foot tall tank of water.
a 15-foot tall tank of water, which never worked particularly well. It was leaking from the get-go.
Yes,
from the very
before
word start.
A single gun was fired. It is already leaking, and they're like, "Well, all right, let's just get this thing up and give it a try."
And
they
like,
seem,
you know what we need?
surprised
to fire a shotgun directly down into it. Sure, this will work just fine. And I can't imagine how firing a shotgun directly down would go poorly.
They seem so surprised when suddenly it breaks and like, whoop, cut the lights off. We didn't think this was going to happen. I'm like, guys.
Oh, dude, that was so funny how they had, because like, I mean, it's cool. They have the tank like borderline illuminated.
Yeah.
And Jamie is standing on top of it on a very flimsy looking platform, which they have constructed around the mouth.
It's Harrison. It's fine. He's not holding a shotgun at the time. It's totally fine.
Right. He's just starting with a teeny little handgun. That's better. That's totally better.
And there's no like flammable boxes nearby and really expensive equipment.
No,
none of that.
Not everything that the business is built on within, feet,
including his
where
co-host.
they're filming, and including the co-hosts, all standing around these live wires that are very close to the wet as is. Which we previously mentioned is already leaking. This tank.
They didn't go into this, but I can understand. They had probably run the numbers. They understood that the physics of it, that there was something to this myth, and so they probably felt like they were firing directly down, they would be fine. What I don't know is how you don't take into account the fact that if you're firing something like a shotgun, there's going to be a massive amount of force and a concussive blast, one, out of the gun, and then two, propelling that water against the sides of the tank. I don't think the bullet hit the side of the tank. I think it was a pure shock, just cracked it, because of course it would.
Well, and as we know from the previous myth they did about the being blasted away, the
Yes.
force is equal to the one that they're firing with. So I can see why they would have thought that they could get away with this, but it takes 2 tries,
Yes.
right? If I'm being super generous, 3, right? They do 2 with the handgun. And they have ballistics gel, which they very casually say compliments of the FBI.
The
And then they
recipe.
just move on.
The recipe is compliments of the FBI.
recipe.
Like they're putting out a cookbook.
Okay. I thought that they were saying that the FBI just casually showed up, was like, "Here's your ballistics gel, Jamie." We still on for Tuesday? All right, we'll see you then.
I mean, the ATF was there not long ago the FAA. Sorry, it was the FAA for the plane.
True.
Yeah. Did you notice though with the ballistics gel? I got really excited because we got one of the best slow-mo bullet shots we've seen yet on the show. They were that's why they had all the light, was because of the high-speed camera, and we're still seeing the camera just get faster and faster already at this part of the show. And I think this is the first time we've really seen, probably partly because the water slowed the bullet down as well, but actually seen a bullet moving through something on the high speed. I think this is the first time. I was like, wow, that's a huge step up.
Yeah, also just like the ripples across ballistics gel.
I know.
When, again, in a in a post MythBusters world, for how often we say that phrase, you would think I could nail it.
It's not an easy
point,
phrase. It's fair.
not super easy. I wish we had picked something else, but there it is.
I thought you were going to say, I wish we had picked a different show to talk about.
I wish we weren't doing this podcast. And if you agree, let us know in your 4-star review where you tell us that actually the MythBusters already did this.
That's a bad take, Harrison. It's a bad take.
Physics doesn't work that way, dude.
It's a little inside joke if you follow our YouTube channel.
Little insider baseball, yeah. Check out the comment section and the plethora of people that apparently don't know the premise of the podcast.
Or the premise of MythBusters, for that matter.
Premise of MythBusters.
You can't say it either.
I've spread it. Yes, I've infected you with my tongue-tiedness. My tongue-tidiness? I don't know. Let us know also in your 4-star review. No, just seeing the ripples across it is just delightful. We take it for granted, but it is such a magnificent visual. But they lower it to see like at what depth you could like survive a gunshot, and they use I think they said a 9mm.
Yeah, they start with the 9mm pistol
one?
at 7 feet, and it actually goes through the ballistics gel. Then at 8 feet, it doesn't go all the way through. So it's amazing how, not that much of a change in distance actually makes a pretty big difference in the myth on this one.
Were you surprised, or as surprised as I was, that they went straight for the shotgun next?
I was.
That seemed like intense escalation.
It was a big escalation. Clearly, they just wanted to get to the 50 cal, which is hilarious considering they spent a good amount of time in the episode like building up. Ooh, are they going to fire a 50 cal? And then the shotgun with a deer slug destroys the tank and completely ruins the test. And they never get that far, at least not at this point. But yeah, they did ramp it up very quick and killed the tank and ended their testing early. But I thought the point that they made was good, that straight down is not only the worst case scenario for for the resistance from the water to actually stop the bullet, or ultimately, as we see, destroy the bullet, but it's also not it's not what you see in movies. Or I was going to use the term realistic, but I mean, that's none of this is
movies.
Yeah. But I mean, what you see is somebody's diving into the water at an angle and they're shooting at an angle into the water. And with that, the way the physics works out, I guess, you don't have to be as far underneath to create more, more resistance between you and the bullet, which is really interesting, and what they end up testing after this.
So after the tank failed, what did you think they were going to do next?
Get permission to go to a big old swimming pool?
You thought that that's what they were going to do next?
No, of course
that
not.
is what they did. But okay,
Of course not.
Yeah,
of course
no,
not. I thought there was good. No, because
the fact that they got someone to agree, they're like, "You want to fire illegal weapons into our swimming pool?"
So that's
Well,
the
sure.
thing.
I don't see any reason why not.
Like I said, I remember this myth, and I always remember being amazed at the fact that they got a swimming pool to actually film in. But then
A different swimming pool, not even the same swimming pool that they've been using.
Well, that's the thing, because when they actually cut to this place, when they cut to the outside and they're talking about what they're about to do, this place is messed up already. That's the part I didn't remember. This is a pretty jank swimming pool.
There are already a few bullet holes in this facility. I don't know that a few more strays is going to hurt it that bad.
Yeah, the water full of atom perspiration and gunpowder is the cleanest thing in this place by far.
By a country mile. It's not even close. It's a very distant second. Everything else.
Did you pick up on, they don't spend any time talking about this, but I actually thought it was could have been an important part of the myth, is the what they call the refraction aimer. So they put plastic wrap up at the edge of their rig, that their ballistics gel holding rig that they sink into the pool. And they use that to actually make a target to shoot at, because when you're shooting into the water with the refraction of the water, it would actually be difficult to know where to aim to hit your target, which seems to me another important part of firing into water after somebody, and why water, it's not bulletproof water, but it does make it more, difficult to get shot. I was kind of surprised they didn't go into that more. I thought it would have been, they only mentioned it the one time, just in reference to that, that sheet of plastic wrap or whatever. I thought that was kind of a big deal.
This is also somewhat of a best case scenario for the shooter, because I don't know how many movies I've seen this happen in clear pool water.
Yeah.
Like I would think that the visibility of the river water, whatever it is, would add to that as well. But it's no, we could see him.
I'm just imagining.
He's right there.
Imagining a movie where somebody jumps into this swimming pool to get away, and the bad guy just goes around to the other side of the pool and waits for them to get out.
He just meets him on the other side. Well, he's gonna have to come up eventually.
I can see where you're going. You're gonna drown. You're gonna get shot. It's up to you. That's a pretty good underwater screaming guy impression. Didn't know you had that one.
Thank you. No. I didn't either until just now. I'm going to have to put that in the back pocket and smoke it.
When would be another scenario where that voice comes in handy, I guess, is the question.
Probably this show.
Yeah.
If I'm being real with you.
Coming
this
up
might
next
be the
season
only
on Try This At Home.
Underwater, whole season. Whole season. You're just going to have to figure it out. We'll have subtitles. It's audio. We'll have subtitles. Don't even worry about it.
You just have to read. We're going to release a book. You just have to read it.
That's it. That's what we need to do. We need to release a book version of a podcast about a show that came out 20 years ago.
That's the next evolution, right? That people are going to consider it's revolutionary. It's like, we're going to take your favorite podcast, we're going to print it as a transcript, and you can actually sit down and read it. And people are going to be like, that's genius.
It kind of already exists, I think.
Oh, God. Of course it does.
I think Comedy Bang Bang actually did that relatively recently. I have not actually read the Comedy Bang Bang book, but I'm assuming that there are a few clips. I don't know. Listener, in your 4-star review, let us know what the Comedy Bang Bang book is about.
And would you buy ours?
And would you buy our Comedy Bang Bang book?
The first rifle that
Please come on the show, Scott Ackerman.
The first rifle that they test in the actual pool, this was pretty cool, is a Civil War era rifle. And this thing's terrifying.
Why?
Well, I think
why?
I think it's to show the different types of bullets and to see if that has any sort of impact. And actually, it winds up having a different impact because this is a hard ball bullet fired with, I assume, black powder.
Which Jamie created himself, I believe they said.
Of course.
Yeah, naturally.
What else are we led to believe? He chiseled the ball out of granite, or he mined the ore and he chewed it into of course he did. Yeah, I think it was just about showing multiple different types of bullets, and obviously you need different weapons to fire that. And this ended up by the end being the most effective because it was so hard. Such a hard projectile. It didn't break up. It just went way off course when it got into the water, did all sorts of weird stuff. But at 3 feet, it was actually lethal, where the other ones didn't get anywhere close to that. They just explode on impact practically. So if you're in the Civil War,
if you're in the Civil War, you're so safe around rivers and oceans,
and you don't have to worry about your girlfriend getting pregnant because she gets shot. We learned that a few weeks
ago. Jeez. You're not wrong.
That's what the show was about.
No. I know. I was remembering that they did an entire episode about that. It was magical.
About Confederate sperm. Yes, they did.
Yeah, sure did. What
Confederates.
We did the whole episode?
Whole show?
And couldn't get there?
We also never used MythBusters.
I think I quit. If we can't do that in real time...
We'll put it in the book. We'll add it in the book.
We'll put it in the book and act like it was always there.
Yep, perfect.
Boom. Perfect. Do you think the like how much salt is in the water affects anything?
That's
I couldn't stop thinking about that. Like if like ocean water was even safer.
I guess the question would be if the salinity changes the density, because that's really what it's about. It's the density of water versus air that is kind of the I guess the core scientific principle behind this. I don't know. That's a really good question. Yeah. I should fall into a research hole about that at some point. I feel like we're gonna have to do our own Myths Revisited, where we come back to the podcast and correct all the stuff we got wrong.
Right.
Try this at home revisited.
It's just like 52 hours.
It's as long as the actual. It's longer.
No, it's longer. It's longer than everything we've ever recorded. Just correcting things. But I guess you really wouldn't need that much more cover because son of a gun, no pun intended. It works.
Yeah.
It works.
It works when they start firing the more modern bullets, the 223, which is they keep referring to as a 223, which is the bullet, but it's basically an M16 rifle, is how people would really know this. It breaks up. I mean, immediately upon hitting the water, and just Adam comes out with pieces, just little pieces he scooped off the bottom of the pool.
So this is what I was referencing earlier, where like. I would think that it is the fact that the water is slowing down the bullet. Right?
Not
and
blowing
eventually
it apart.
It just sinks. No, right. Not just like absolutely disintegrating it on impact. Like that was, to me, that was the real shocker. Where like I was watching the episode and I had to take it back because I was like, there's no way I heard that right. You mean to tell me that it, and then they kept pushing the ballistic gel closer and closer and closer, and they're like, up to 2 feet, you're just fine for basically every single one of these guns.
And they even say later on that because of the angle of the water, you wouldn't even have you physically would not have to go that far, because again, since you're hitting it at an angle, you get to 2 feet like immediately, basically. Like you're past the lethality
you dive in
range.
And you're good.
Yeah, you dive in and you're past the lethal range right away. It's just that it is to your point, it is shocking just how extreme the result on this is. I don't know that they've had such an... what was I think a few weeks ago we coined the phrase that it's like a myth has been smithereened if it is like super busted. Yeah. This is the opposite of that. This is like mega super double secret probation
hella
confirmed.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly.
Yours was smarter.
Mine's an Animal House reference. I don't know if that really counts as being smart.
Counts.
I did. Speaking of smartness, as we have been going, I did a little bit of research. According to Google, which gets nothing wrong, salinity does change water density. Increased salinity leads to increased density of water. So if you're going to do this, go to the beach.
If you're going to be shot at and have to make a speedy underwater getaway, make sure you're by the ocean, baby.
I do wonder, though, compared, because obviously this is, I don't believe this was a saltwater pool. I don't think so.
No, they might mention that.
It might be even more effective. Like, it would be interesting to see it done with ocean water and see.
It just explodes on the surface.
Yeah, it just skips. Their final
Fires
test,
right back.
They finally get to fire the 50 cal.
Which also, this thing is terrifying.
It is an absolutely terrifying bit of weaponry. Yes.
I feel like it's become somewhat you see it's a Call of Duty weapon.
Yes.
So like you see it, but like to actually see it next to a normal sized dude is like that. And then Jamie's talking about like how heavy it is.
It's impractically large.
It's like 50 pounds. It's like, what are you talking about?
My favorite thing is they do a really big build up about like the safety of this thing. And I'm like, it's not actually more dangerous than the other guns in the sense like they act like it's going to explode when they fire. It's like that's not how it works. But then at one point, Jamie, there's a firearms expert. We need to get this across. Who has brought the weapons in? Did you notice when Jamie goes to actually fire it? He goes, "So the safety's off now?" And she responds, "I would think so."
I'm gonna need a more firm answer on that, my friend.
That inspires no confidence.
I'm going to need a yes or no, actually. I don't care what you think. I need you to know for this one in particular.
I'm not. She's just like, oh, I mean, weaponry is art. What can I say? Who am I to say whether the safety is on or off, or if you're pointing it at someone or the pool? It's all open to interpretation.
I was really thinking. I interpreted that to be that she was just being a smart ass with him, like. I'm a weapons professional, and you think that I like have given you a gun that is like, no, come on now.
I don't know. Maybe we had two Jamie personalities there acting off of each other, and it's hard to tell. Thank God for Adam.
That's Mrs. Jamie these days.
Oh, what a great meet cute.
She took his first name, Mrs. Jamie. Well, Mrs. Heineman is my mother, and there can only be one.
Call me old-fashioned, but I miss the day when you would take someone's first name. That was true love.
That's when you knew you had something.
Even the 50 cal breaks up within 3 feet, and the blast on this one is so big, it sends water into the ceiling. Water goes all the way up in this like Olympic-sized swimming pool, place and hits the ceiling. It's crazy how much force is coming out of this thing. Still disintegrates. You would still be perfectly safe.
I mean, this one. What can I say? Hella confirmed.
Hella confirmed.
Well, Adam, this is totally amazing. Even with the 50 caliber, an armor-piercing round, it lost all its energy within the first couple of feet. It ripped the copper jacket off of it and didn't penetrate the target.
Well, just like all our other high-powered rifles.
Well, I guess you know what that means.
Yeah, the myth is confirmed. You would be safe.
Not that I'd want to try it.
Myth 2, 360-degree swing set. We Nostradamus to this myth a little bit, or we saw into the future a few weeks ago. We saw something about this written on their on the board in the writer's room when they had a shot, and we were like, "Wait a minute, am I remembering?" And here it is.
What is that?
I didn't know we were going to get to this soon. It's awesome. The question here: can you swing all the way around a swing set? So, kind of a classic, a playground thing. You and your friends playing with a swing set, and y'all. I'm sure at some point you've all had that experience of going like, "Oh, could we go all the way around?" We're going to see. Could this actually happen? Could you do what they refer to as what do they call it? A straight 360, where essentially, can you go all the way around while keeping the chains straight all the way through and not just falling to the ground. Did you have any like swing set injuries and disasters as a kid?
Oh, so many.
Yeah, same.
So very, very many. But it was mostly from, I mean, of course, I'm sure I tried to go all the way around, but like my main injuries were from like launching myself up at the high point to see like how far you could, basically a long jump from a swing position.
That was big in our school too.
Oh yeah, yeah. They actually like outlawed it at the school. Never stopped me.
Brought in a cop.
Yeah.
Hey, you kids.
Hey, you look like you're about to launch. Not on my watch. And then he shot them. Terribly sad. But yeah, injured myself for sure on those bullets and on the swing.
You should have just dove into the pool. Should have just dove into the school swimming pool. You would have been fine.
Yes. Launch myself from the swing, dodge a few bullets midair, dive into the pool, and then I'm scot-free. And then he's like, "Where'd he go? Because I can't see him in all this pool water. Where'd he go?"
The worst
down there somewhere.
My worst playground injury as a kid, I definitely did the same thing, jumping off of swings. Mm-hmm. My worst though was not a swing; it was monkey bars. But I don't know if
you were monkeying around too much.
Well, I don't know if other listeners,
you're welcome, listeners,
had this experience powering through, had this experience. But my preschool was old enough that the monkey bars they had were wrought iron bars. Yes. So
what?
The first day,
Cliff, you're not that old.
They still had them. They also had a newer set. But the first day, the first set of monkey bars I get to, I grab, and of course it hurts your hands so bad. And if you're not expecting it, I grab it, immediately lose my grip, and fall. And do not break my fall at all. I just go face first into the sand.
Okay. And are we talking like, is this just a smooth bar, or did it have the grip
the knobbly,
stuff on
grippy
it?
stuff on it?
Yeah.
Yes.
that every child is just dying to swing from. It's really.
They might as well have wrapped it in sandpaper. Like, it was brutal.
No, I still have like calluses on my hands from monkey bars, very, very similar to that.
Our generation, our calluses from monkey bars.
Yeah, that's how that's why our hands are rough. Not because we were out working, but because we were monkeying around. Literally.
The PS to my monkey bar story is I just remember, the one thing I remember clearly is, of course, I'm a little kid.
Did you cry?
Oh,
Did you cry?
Oh, yeah. I cried. And I remember being in the bathroom.
What a wuss,
well,
dude.
I remember being in the bathroom at school, the teacher's on the phone with my mom being like, "He's fine, but I just wanted to let you know." And meanwhile, I'm over the sink, and what's coming out of my nose is clotted sand with blood. It's just like a murder on the beach is falling out of my face. Just, yeah,
you should have made it to the water, baby.
So
should have made it to the ocean.
I turned out fine. I do this. I do this for a living now. It's cool.
Yeah. Brain damage is fun like that.
Speaking of people who hurt themselves on swing sets and monkey bars and things.
Yeah.
They start this out with just a regular swing set, and they're going to just try. This makes perfect sense. If you're going to start this, you're just going to start it for real, and you're going to see what you can. You want the footage of them trying and not succeeding. But of course, they put Tori on it, and Tori does nothing halfway. That is why he ends up hurting himself so much, is whatever he does 10,000%, including swinging on a child swing set that has a notice on it that says not for adults. He swings harder than anyone I've ever seen.
Yes.
The chain snaps and he eats it. And I I knew this was coming. I think I even made a joke about it when we first talked about this myth, that I remember Tori falling when it happened. The second it happened, I don't know what it is, some primal part of my brain, I just belted out with laughter. Like, I mean, it was just from some deep place inside of me. It was just like whack. And it is so funny to watch him get hurt. I'm sorry. I'm glad he's okay and he's still with us today. But it is so funny to watch the man get hurt.
No, we've talked about this because it's similar to like when they were like testing the gliders, where like it's how straight down he goes, like it snaps and he just plops directly down. You know, not at an angle. He doesn't do any sliding or anything like that. It's just pop.
And there's it's all action, no reaction, I think is why falls are so funny. It's not like something blows up and there's a shockwave or, whatever. It's just like hit and the inertia just stops. It's just boom, over. Oh my God. Yeah. And they get it
Gravity,
so perfectly,
you've done
too.
it again.
Oh, the shot is just perfectly framed. It's just so funny.
It is really something that is so well shot, you would think that it had been staged. I don't think that. Because there's actually several moments in this episode in particular which are staged not particularly well.
Yeah.
Like just little jokes where they're like, haha, now we're saying this as if it's something that we're naturally saying to each other.
All the blueprint room stuff is where I really noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. When they're like very obviously being fed lines, like way more so than usual. And now they're being fed like jokey lines to say to each other, where like it used to feel a little more like improvised, and now it's just like
Did you get the vibe that Adam like wasn't really digging what they were being asked to say either? He seemed kind of grumpy in those segments, not in the episode on the whole, but just in those segments. It seemed like maybe something wasn't going too great either, which probably added to that feeling.
I felt that as well. And also, I mean, I'm not saying that like it's not like it was bad or like that's a deeply unfunny line they're being fed. It's just that like I think they have such a good natural rapport anyway. Yeah. That it's like noticeable when they like later when they go to the circus guy, and they're like, all right, let's get Grant out of here. And they like kind of no, Tori. It's Tori. And they like kind of like drag him out, and it's like,
well, even with Grant, they're already starting to like layer in some character with Grant, which is the joke is, and it's clearly a joke, but the joke is Grant's a weenie.
Grant's a weenie and a little guy.
Yeah,
like a little scrimp, a little nerdy guy.
When it's his turn,
look at this math guy.
When it's
He's
his
not
turn
like the rest of us
to be on the swing, on just the regular swing, because Tori's already fallen, and they put him in the full red man suit. Just all the pads.
They put him in full stormtrooper armor.
Yes.
Like they call him a Power Ranger, which at first I was like, is that a little questionable? But I decided no, because the reason they didn't go with the stormtrooper joke is you probably just shouldn't call people stormtroopers on national television.
And it was red.
I understand why you shouldn't. And it was red. And well, the Sith troopers. Cliff, come on.
But those aren't technically stormtroopers, right? Oh boy, I've just opened up Harrison's encyclopedia.
We see the Sith originally started out as their own species when the Dark Jedi arrived there roughly after they were kicked off of Coruscant in 1000 BBY. And then the Cliff just pulled out his phone. It was like, all right, I've played this game before. You got to let him get it out of his system.
Let him get it out of his system. We'll get there in a minute. Hey, I'm just happy.
There is an answer, but this isn't the podcast.
I'm just happy it wasn't James Bond.
I'll just do that.
So I'll take it.
I've been, you know what? You're right. I've been failing this season. We had no less than like 12 James Bond references in the first season.
Yeah.
And now I've dropped the ball.
We'll get back to
dropped
it.
the
There's going to
ball.
be a James Bond special eventually, so you're just saving it up.
I'm really banking on that special.
We got in this episode a character that was first introduced a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't really talk about it. Is now they have the army of simulades, which are essentially like they're kind of like Discount Buster, where they're not like fully accurately weighted and all that, but they are like test platforms.
They're demigods.
They're demigods. Exactly.
They're not fully divine.
Exactly. They're in the house of
way that
Buster, but they are
is.
not. Yes.
They are. They are the progeny of our Lord Buster.
Exactly.
But, you know, we would never pray to one of them.
No.
Never.
Come on. What can
That's
they?
reserved.
We've yet to see them come back from the dead. You know, I'm just saying.
That's right. We don't know that they can.
And this deity was named Simulate Susie, which
That's just not a sentence I was expecting to hear. I loved that. That caught the ear very strangely in ways that made me happy. Well done, man.
have you listened to the show? That's what we do here.
Yeah, it's kind of our whole thing. No, I don't listen. Why should I? No.
Gotta get you to
Listener,
leave us a
let us know in your 4-star
There we
review.
Are we getting
It's really good that we can.
Are we getting?
No, Cliff. No, we're getting better. That's what I choose to believe.
It's what my doctor tells me all the time.
He's a liar. But yes, Simulate Susie.
Yes. So now, because remember when they did the balloon myth,
Archangel of sorts.
when they did the balloon myth, which we're gonna have another reference to later in this episode. I don't know if you picked up on that, but they had to make their own sandbag Maddie back at the time. Now they actually have, destroyable children. Which is the thing.
Another sentence I was not.
Which is the thing that MythBusters needs, apparently.
Fully destructible children.
Yes, disposable children.
Disposable offspring. That's what we've been waiting for.
They try to throw the dummy around the swing set. Is the point I'm trying to get to?
Yes. Yeah.
And they try to throw the dummy around the swing set. I really buried the lead on this because they start out with like, oh, can they do this? Grant and Tori, they need some help. Who are we going to call? Bikers. And not only
the Hell's Angels.
That's what I was going to get to. So they say, these Hell's Angels are going to, and I just wrote down, haha, it's like Robert Lee's going, they've killed people. Like, what?
Why does Tori have them on speed dial? What is this?
I don't actually think they were Hell's Angels, but it's actually really offensive to just call Tori's friends who own motorcycles Hell's Angels.
Right. After insanely dangerous biker dudes. They were probably just enthusiasts.
It was such a weird, like, random part of the episode. They just all of a sudden show up.
And they nail it, too.
Oh, yeah. If you need to get a child over a bar, if you need to get your disposable child over a set of bars.
Call the Hell's Angels.
Call the Hell's Angels. That's why they're here.
Do you need to dispose of a child? Today. Not tomorrow. Not the next day. Today? Well, then, boy, do I have the biker gang for you.
Oh, God.
Call 1-800-HELL-ANGEL.
I don't know.
That's
I was trying to...
L-A-N.
I was even trying to think about, like, how do you get into this bit from a production standpoint? Like, you're all out there and you're like, it would be funny. We called in somebody strong to help us, but we don't have anybody. I guess we call bike. I don't know. I don't even know what purpose this was supposed to serve in the episode. It was just bizarre.
Sorry. I'm going to choose to believe that they really are friends of Tori's. That's my headcanon. That's what I want to be true.
If we get Tori on the show,
so I reject your reality and substitute my own.
Nice. We've never done that before.
And you think we're getting worse at this? Wrong. Wrong.
Whenever we one day hopefully have Tori on the show, we have to remember to ask him. So, do you know Hell's Angels? Are you an accessory to murder?
are you like an honorary member, maybe? I have no trouble believing that Tori is like really into motorcycles. That seems to check out.
Well, he's done
with his
motor,
personality.
yeah, and he's done a lot of like automotive shows and stuff like. He did Motor MythBusters and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe it's all legit. Still makes for a weird beat in the show, but
yes, it does. But I'm so glad it's there.
My favorite part of this myth overall, well, except for the ending. The ending is pretty spectacular. But we have another great MythBusters side character who's introduced into the show, is Dick Grayson. Basically, real life Dick Grayson. They go and they meet a circus performer who is actually going to train them in how to do this with a giant circus swing set that's made to go 360. And I looked this guy up.
Straight arm swing.
That becomes important. But I wanted to say first, I looked this guy up. His name is Eric Braun. He is, as they say in the show, a 7th generation circus performer. He owns a company called Braun Productions, where he has worked with everyone from Cirque du Soleil to Lady Gaga for various aerial productions over the years. He has this crazy great resume on his site and a lot of videos. Really fun. Look this guy up. He is a great entry into our pantheon of MythBusters side characters. And this is one of those beats on the show that's totally not necessary from like a science perspective or even necessarily a story perspective, but it's so great to just watch them hang out with this guy and do 360s on this thing. It's so much fun.
See what I did there? Because they're literally hanging from the swing.
Yeah, and we're getting better.
So, right. So, I spent way too much time when they kept saying a straight arm swing.
Yeah.
I spent way too... Oh, now I'm nervous to even admit that. Whatever. If the audience doesn't know I'm dumb at this point, they haven't been paying very good attention. I spent like half the episode being like, well, they're bending their arms.
Oh.
So I mean, I guess it's not like that much of a straight arm swing. If like look at that. Look, even the guy, even Dick Grayson is like bending his arms. What is this? This is it. And then it like hit me like about an hour after I'd watched it. Where I was like, oh no, this is like prog rock all over.
Was this?
Have I told that story?
I don't think so.
Oh boy.
Is this like you saw Bigfoot? What the hell are we going into now?
For many years, it's a bit like that. For many years, I thought prog rock. I probably learned about 10 years ago at the ripe old age of 20-ish.
Oh boy.
That the prog stood for progressive and not the city of Prague. I was hearing Prague. I was like, damn. That city puts out so much good music. Like, what? And then I think I heard a band that I knew full well was American referred to as prog rock. And I was like, well, they're not from Prague. Like, that doesn't even make sense anymore.
And then you learned it was progressive rock. And you were like, so it's Bernie Sanders playing rock music.
So it's Bernie Sanders getting out there playing, right. And it still didn't make a lot of sense to me. But that's not why. But I'm not a music guy.
I'm picturing
Add
you
it to the list of guys I'm not.
I'm picturing you a few weeks ago watching the Civil War episode and going, well, this doesn't look civil at all.
I'm just hyper literal about everything. Like, well, that's just not. Well, I'm sorry. I just think that the things that we name should have some sort of relevance.
Words have meaning, damn it.
Words have meaning. That's all I'm saying.
But no.
We were not at war with the planet during World War I or II. I don't know why they're calling
By
it
3,
that.
we're going to get there. I believe in us.
By 3, we are going to be fighting the planet itself. We're going to be outside just punching the ground repeatedly for hours. And I think we're going to win.
Yeah. It sounds
crazy.
Optimistic.
Call me crazy.
But no, the straight arm swing refers to the fact that instead of a chain, you have straight arms, which they actually, this did blow my mind when they did it in small scale and they figured out that you need so much less energy. So much energy is lost by slack arms on a swing that it is not really physically possible to do this under normal power. You would need a degree of magnitude more than a normal human can actually generate on a swing to make that happen.
Maybe something, I don't know, rocket powered television program.
I love
That's what I think you need.
that we got right back to JATO rocket car here. We were like all the way back to the beginning, including that they bring in the guy who is a rocket expert and can never seem to set rockets off the way he wants to.
But isn't that what makes him magic?
It really is.
I think that's why they keep bringing him back in particular, is that they are guaranteed at least one slip up and for it to eventually go right.
He's the sometimes rocket guy.
Buddy, he delivers every time. 50% of the time, it works every time.
It's like how Jack Morocco understands narrative storytelling, and so the tension has to increase. This guy just screws it up because he's like, story needs conflict.
He knows. He knows innately. I think they know this as well.
Yeah,
because
I think you're right.
Because there's a bit where so you know, I think we can jump the gun. They decide that they've got to strap rockets.
Yes, that is the only way to generate the right amount of force.
To a child's swing set.
Of course.
Yes, swing set.
That's why you have a disposable child.
That's the only reason I have a disposable child, so I can strap rockets to them and watch them go around very, very fast.
Right. Because the Hells Angels just don't cut it. Yeah, we're up to speed.
Because the Hells Angels can only do but so much. You know, they can't strap.
They can't be everywhere all the time. You know,
that's right. They're always watching over us.
If there's no bike
parking,
parking,
can't be everywhere.
We're in trouble.
They're omniscient, not omnipresent.
Exactly.
There's a difference. At some point, so in the model they do, which is hilarious. They just do a teeny little rocket and it works, but they only use one rocket. And then all of the sudden, at some point, they decide 2 rockets.
I want to talk about this. This is really,
let's talk about
this is really interesting for a couple of different reasons. So as you mentioned, they do the small scale test, and this is one of my favorite small scale tests from the show because I remember this from back in the day where they build a mini swing set and a little clay simulated, which actually reminds me of the little Buster that I keep here on my microphone during the show. It's quite almost the same size. And it's really smart. And this is another one of those places, particularly where you see Grant flexing his science abilities because they keep working on the angle that they need to get the rocket at, and they get all these calculations, and they get it to where, like you said, it works perfectly. They get out to the shoot, and the whole plan is changed, and they talk about that on the show, which that's the part that I find so interesting, particularly because when they get out to the shoot, Adam and Jamie are in charge. And it felt a little bit of like the parents step in and we know how this should actually be done. And they actually had that shot of Carrie talking to the camera like, I don't know why we're doing it this way. Like, we had figured this out. We got it cracked, and we're wasting a lot of rockets to make this happen. It was really interesting to watch.
There is something about the way she says it, where she's like, and something changed along the way. I don't know what.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, I think you do know what. I think you know exactly what.
We haven't really seen, obviously the Adam and Jamie tension has become, a known part of the show. We haven't really seen that between Build Team and Adam and Jamie. We haven't seen the parent-kid dynamic come into play quite like we did here before. I thought it was actually very interesting. Again, going back to what Adam taught us is kind of the defining principle of the show of being honest. It's interesting they put that in. They could have cut all that out and just showed it working, but they didn't, which is an interesting choice.
To mark this. I want to ask him about this. This feels like, this definitely feels like one that I would like to know more about for sure.
I agree. I agree. Because and here's the other thing: when they changed the full scale to use the same degrees, I think it was 40 degrees. They dropped the angle on the rocket to 40 degrees, which puts the blast right in the simulated's face, which I thought was pretty funny. But when they do it, it works on the first try, and it's one of the craziest high-speed shots we've seen, where it's actually you see the whole loop-to-loop and the chain stays taut the whole way around. I mean, it looks exactly like the small scale, just blown up. And the kids had it.
The kids. Hey, that kid went to the moon, baby. We did it. We sent him.
They did it. No Hell's Angels needed. It was great.
Nope.
But yeah, I'm
Godspeed, little one. Godspeed. Oh, Buster speed, I guess.
Buster. Oh yes, in Buster we trust. Yeah.
Yes.
But unsurprisingly, of course, this one was busted. But just a great myth and a great episode. I even some of the, as we talked about through this, even some of the weird and surprising things like the Hell's Angels and the rocket changing, it just adds. Now we're at that point where the weirdness, the core show is so good that the weirdness just makes it weirder and more fun and silly. And
now it's like self-refer. Okay, I can do this. I swear I can do this. Self-referentially weird.
Yes.
Nailed it. On my third try. And I'm sure you'll leave all this in too.
Much like this podcast, it is self-referentially weird.
Exactly. Oh, you got it in the first go. Screw you.
The whole time in my head, I was like, go slow, because if you mess it up, you're not going to live this down. He is going to jump all over you if you get this wrong too.
I am so big on getting on your case about things that I also can't do. That's my favorite thing. So you're not living that one down, Bumgardner.
Well, we really enjoyed this episode. Hope you guys did too, and hope you will come back next week. Our main myth, the title seems kind of uncomfortably timely. It's Border Slingshot. Yeah.
Oh, no.
This might be
dark joke, Mr. Bumgardner.
I mean, I'm just saying the whole episode might be a weird tone watching it 20 years later. I'm not sure how we're going to feel, but
I guess we'll find out.
Go online, go on Max or wherever you watch the show, watch ahead so that you can follow along with us. While you're out there, be sure to leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen. It really helps the show.
4 stars.
But until then, thanks for listening.
Bye-bye, babies.
Try This at Home is produced by Slugline Media. The show is written, hosted, edited, and shot onto the internet by Cliff Bumgardner and Harrison Stewart. Our music is by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. You can follow the show on Instagram at TryThisPod or email us, trythisathomepod@gmail.com. Oh, well, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we hope you will come back next week. Our next episode will be This Seems Like an Uncomfortably Timely Title. I don't remember the episode, so it'll be interesting to see.
Oh, is this the one where they bomb Iran? You can absolutely cut that. You can 1000% cut.
I'm gonna mark it.
You'll make a game time decision.
No,
don't tell me either. I will know the day it drops if it made the cut or not.